What's up, YouTube? Welcome to my top 10 metal albums of 2017. Here we are, it's the final days of the year, and I'm sitting here looking back on just another fucking awesome year to be a heavy metal fan. Sure, you know, that Suicide Silence record, that did happen. Pretty early on in the year, too, unfortunately. And yeah, every hipster with a blog and a thesaurus, they all decided that this year, there are only two metal records that actually mattered, the Code Orange record and the Power Trip record. 2015, it was Death Heaven. 2016, it was Vector. Every year, that music radar crowd, they have to pick like at least one album to endlessly hype up to make people somehow think that they take the metal genre seriously. But for real though, for the real dedicated fans, the genre is in as good a place as ever, and I couldn't be more psyched to share this list with you. It's quite literally 12 months in the making. Like, I remember very clearly, way back in January, there were a bunch of big name metal records right out of the gate that I reviewed. There was like the Creator record, the Firewind record, the Sepultura record, that Code Orange record, and I remember sitting there and thinking to myself, like, I wonder if sometime around Christmas, I'll be driving myself absolutely insane trying to figure out where these records fit on the year-end list. Sure enough, here we are. Besides reiterating for the millionth time that this list is just personal taste, I'm gonna urge you to please pay attention to those honorable mentions that scroll at the end of this video. Because if a record's in there, that means that it was seriously considered for the top 10. And you know what? It likely missed by a pretty narrow margin. So point being, there's a lot more awesome metal music that I want to make sure you've heard. A lot of it's at the end of this video. And without further ado, the 10 best metal records of 2017. Well, according to me. At number 10, Body Count with Bloodlust. I absolutely had to squeeze this fucking record into the top 10. It was just exhilarating to see Ice-T's metal band make metal and hip-hop work so fucking well together. Because on one hand, this record has all these razor-sharp, often thrash-influenced riffs. It's got these punishing grooves and breakdowns. Great examples include like the chorus of the song This Is Why We Ride, as well as the song Walk With Me with Randy from Lamb of God. So it's got this tremendous, genuine metal cred to it. But then you merge that with Ice-T's very in-your-face, often confrontational lyrics about things like street violence and race relations in America and politics, and what you get is just this monstrous ball of energy that really pretty much no other metal band could make happen in this unique fashion. Seriously, I could not believe how good this fucking album was. Songs like Ski Mask Way and No Lives Matter and Black Hoodie and This Is Why We Ride and the title track. I mean, not only did these songs get me through a lot of workouts, I mean, clearly, but it's just that as I've beaten them to death, they've only gotten better. So that just really shows how strong this album is at its core. Number 9, the band Hate with Tremendum. Like I said in my glowing review of this record, what happened here is this is basically a blackened death metal band that this time around just said fuck it and wholeheartedly embraced more of the black metal side of the fence. They made a record that's a lot more atmospheric, a lot moodier, but at the same time still retains that overwhelming power of their more death metal leaning material. It was so exciting to see Hate take that leap on Tremendum, and for my money, it paid off in spades. And I'd love to see the band explore more of their black metal side on their next record, because songs like Sea of Rubble and Walk Through Fire are some of the best of the band's now quarter-century plus career. At number 8 is Immolation's Atonement, just a shining example of potent death metal in 2017. Tons of real dissonant, sinister guitar playing and brutal, chaotic rhythm sections. This is just a grade A death metal record that, much like Dying Fetuses Destroy the Opposition, for example, when you listen to it, it just makes you feel absolutely fucking invincible. And for real, there's not a single skippable track in this track list, which for me, with this style of metal, is definitely on the rare side. Love the new Enslaved record, E. These guys are one of the most consistently ambitious metal bands when it comes to their winding, progressive song structures, their genre blurring, their conceptuality, and just their absolute fearlessness when it comes to defying any and all conventions that extreme metal might have appeared to have. I continue to find Enslaved's odd sort of black metal, prog metal fusion to be super unique, super entertaining, and most important, unpredictable, which is something that the metal genre could always use. I totally understand that for some fans, it might be tough to grit your teeth through the proggier, more indulgent moments on this record, but me, I eat that shit up. And I continue to be so addicted to that mix of pure black metal vocals and completely clean singing that has now characterized Enslaved's sound for a number of years, especially on highlights like The River's Mouth and my personal favorite, the epic closer, What Else Is There. At number 6 is Conformicide by Havok. Man, if there was one record this year that made all that thrash revival stuff worth it, it was this one. I know that everyone was sucking off that Power Trip record, and that's cool, but for me, it was this Havok record, because the thing is, I don't listen to a lot of thrash metal anymore, but it was this record that really took me back to just the pure excitement I had as a 14-year-old kid first discovering bands like Creator and Exodus. Havok's music does have an element of boundary pushing to it, but it really is made in that traditional thrash mold, in the best way possible. It's got these slightly longer songs that more steadily build towards that climactic main riff that then drives the song. The songs are littered with squealing guitar solos. Frontman Dave Sanchez's vocals are like Bobby Blitz and Dave Mustaine put together on crack. And the lyrics especially are so Mustaine-esque, and to his credit, Sanchez really gives them that snarling delivery that they so deserve. And the bass playing on this record, it's fucking unbelievable. Look, if you are at all into thrash metal, this has to be a top priority for you. Like Vector last year, Havok are absolutely outgunning all of the aging thrash veterans. And they're helping build a future for the genre that's more advanced and frankly more exciting. Alright, our first entry into the top 5 goes to Goatwhore with their 7th LP, Vengeful Ascension. Goatwhore rarely disappoints with me. I've always loved their looser, more casual, more riff-oriented approach to the black metal world. Although black metal is obviously not the appropriate label for songs on here, like the title track and Forsaken and Those Who Deny God's Will. It really gets no genre label because it's so all over the place. Like, my favorite track on here is the song Mankind Will Have No Mercy, which brings together like these vintage 80s thrash metal riffs with shrieking evil vocals and some tremolo death metal-ish guitar. I love using this word because it just confuses the shit out of people, but it's so fun. Like, Goatwhore's music is fun. It's really easy to listen to. The production has such an organic feel and isn't like super compressed and mechanic and just trying to blast your face off. Instead, it's inviting. It's the kind of extreme metal that you can listen to without feeling completely drained afterwards. At number 4, we've got the Black Dahlia Murder's Nightbringers, which, to be completely honest, this is the record that I wanted to leave just off the top 10. Because it's almost boring at this point. Like, 2 years went by, we got another awesome Black Dahlia record. Its title was 3 syllables long, and lather, rinse, repeat. This band's excellence is like clockwork at this point. And I almost felt like kind of a basic bitch putting this album on here. But the thing is, Nightbringers is not just another great Black Dahlia record. It is quite possibly the best of the band's career. I loved it when it came out, and I reviewed it very positively, but the more I listened to it and kind of compare and contrast with their discography, the more I'm convinced that this might be the best record of Black Dahlia Murder's career. There is not a single wasted second on this LP. It's just 9 fucking mammoth tracks that all stand alone as unique, separate entities. Like, in my mind, I can totally distinguish between the relentless aggression of God and Serpent, the more emotion-driven closer, The Lonely Deceased, with its little In Flames interlude, and then, of course, my favorite track, As Good As Dead, with its weirdly, like, hair metal-influenced chorus riff, which never fails to crack me up. Yeah, Black Dahlia, I never saw it coming, but they took things to another level on Nightbringers. And of course, all the positive qualities about the band's past work, still there. Trevor kills the vocals, the guitar riffs, even while they're going by at warp speed, are like hooks in and of themselves. Their new lead player, Brandon Ellis, brings some fucking ripping guitar solos and really does a wonderful job filling in for Ryan Knight. So this is really the complete Black Dahlia package. And if you've somehow never listened to this band, this is the perfect record to start with. Okay, number 3. We're getting towards the end here. Wolves in the Throne Room with their 6th record, Thrice Woven. Lots of mixed reactions to this record, which I just didn't understand at all, because I thought it was an amazing black metal record. Given I'm just like a big fan of this band in general, and that whole black metal sound that comes out of the Pacific Northwest, so I am biased here, but if we're just going to talk frankly about Wolves in the Throne Room's catalog and the most celebrated moments in it, like let's say their sophomore record, Two Hunters. You take that record, this new one is really just a small peg below that. Seriously, it's got all the makings of a beautifully immersive but ferocious Wolves in the Throne Room record. And I love how in the midst of all these really tuneful, layered harmonies and everything, the band still make room for some true blue, old school Norwegian black metal. Like the 3rd track on here has some very Burzum-esque ambiance, and towards the end of the track has these stomping, very early Darkthrone riffs. So I really appreciate that they were able to bring a little bit of black metal's history into what was clearly their signature sound. And one practical point about Thrice Woven, its track list is 5 songs long, really 4 songs and an interlude. So if you're like me, and you happen to like all 4 songs, then all your concerns about like navigating the track list and the filler cuts in it, they just evaporate. You just hit play and you lose yourself in the record. And the silver medal for 2017 metal albums goes to a contender that just kept fighting its way up and up and up the ranks. Strength in Numbers by The Haunted. Please watch my review for this one, because I really think I nailed that review. not to toot my own horn or anything. I really do think that I nailed that review, and I'm not going to be able to condense those thoughts here as well as I'd like to. But essentially, here's what's going on with this record. There's a couple things. First, what this record really is a melodic death metal band making a full-on thrash assault that fucking destroys, and I mean destroys, every attempt made in the past few years by the likes of Testament and Overkill and Anthrax and Megadeth and Metallica and Slayer. Just blows them out of the water. Because here's what's happening on this record. Vocalist Marco Aro is a lot harsher and a lot more aggressive than your traditional thrash vocalist. So when you pair his just absolute roar with these high-octane thrash riffs, it triples the impact. And B, the band do an unbelievable job constructing their choruses, which is an area that, like on the last Testament and Overkill records, is severely lacking. The fucking hooks on songs like Spark, which is especially tuneful, as well as Preachers of Death and The Fall, and a more groovy song like This Is the End. For me, in 2017, no other metal band came close, much less a thrash band. Yeah, The Haunted absolutely blew me away here. I did not see it coming. Please give it a listen if you haven't yet. And hopefully you'll hear what I hear, which is a magnificent thrash album. The kind of thrash album that you never knew you always wanted to hear. Yet, it's made by an extreme metal band. And the #1 slot I'm gonna give to Pelorian's Obsidian Arc. John Hamm's first musical release since the tragic breakup of Agalloch. It wasn't supposed to be anything special, and in fact, for a lot of fans, it really wasn't. But for me, it was. As opposed to his work in Agalloch, which brought in elements of folk music and post-rock and all kinds of shit, Pelorian is the answer to the question, what would happen if John Hamm went and made a true blue black metal record? And the result is a deeply emotional listening experience, for me at least, that in 48 minutes captures so vividly every single emotion that the black metal genre shoots for. It's bleak, it's mournful, it's frightening, it's triumphant, it really just hits the whole spectrum. It's weird though, because this record definitely requires a certain mindset or mood from me in order to enjoy it properly. Whereas past picks on lists like these, like last year I had Insomnium's Winter's Gate, as well as Avenged Sevenfold's The Stage, those are records I can kind of listen to whenever. For this record, it's got to be either gray or dark outside, or most preferable, it's got to be snowy, which I think this record came out in the middle of a snowstorm up here in the Northeast, so that might explain why I fell so deeply in love with it. But I definitely need to be in a certain place for this record, which makes it a little bit of a weird pick for #1, but the thing is, when I come at it from the right angle, this was the perfect metal record for me this year. And I can't recommend that you'll love it the same way that I love it, but I would definitely encourage you to give it a listen. And that just about wraps it up. I really hope you enjoyed my thoughts on these 10 records, but most importantly, if you watched even a single metal review that I put out this year, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. You know, going back through all these albums and listening and re-listening, it made me realize how much I put into reviewing metal music in 2017 and trying to turn people on to all this great shit that was coming out. So if you were one of the people watching, that absolutely means the world to me, and I promise to bring it even harder with the metal reviews in 2018, because I'm really planning to ramp up here. So thank you again for being a viewer, whether it was one video or 10 videos or half a video or one angry comment 5 seconds into a video. I really appreciate it. And again, honorable mentions coming up. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, leave a comment, or shoot me a message so we can continue to talk music, and I'll see you guys soon.
No phones inside the telly, pics inside the celly. Baby, you know the house rules. Yeah, respect over a dollar, death before dishonor. Partner, you know the house rules. If I'm up, you can't be down, and I'm down to tear shit up for you, homie. You know the house rules. Yeah, all bitches with flat stomachs, no cars under 100, my nigga. You know the house rules. I'm high, chillin' with Bruno on Mars. Quickest verses, put them in hearses, call them funeral bars. But these funeral bars, they bought me them beautiful cars.